afternoon, Slava Ukraini. I got a NATO flag. A couple of weeks ago, mind you, we were at a No to NATO rally, counter-protest movement, and we never had a NATO flag. And I raised it with the speaker here, and I said to him, we need a NATO flag because if we're going to face our opposition, we have to say, look, we are a pro-NATO movement. And NATO will be the bedrock of Ukrainian security once this war comes to an end. And I don't know what some of you may think, but I think it's important that we have the NATO flag at our rally. Some of you may be against it, but I don't see why it's so controversial to not to use it. So some of you may be for it, but I think that we should use this at our rallies on a regularly, because it's NATO that will provide security for Ukraine when this war ends. So I want to say all together, Ukraine in NATO! Ukraine in NATO! Ukraine in NATO!
Ukraine in NATO!
Ukraine in NATO!
Ukraine in NATO!
Ukraine in NATO!
Ukraine in NATO!
Also, at our counter rally, we did meet these No to NATO, Yes to Peace activists. Some of them ridiculous. One of them we saw had the funny Soviet hat and a USSR hat, and his mask was up the face. And we asked him questions. You know, we did say, look, why don't you engage with us? But they didn't want to. So we went there as a group of us, and I think there could have been more of us than them, but there wasn't many support for them. We were outside the Deptford Town Hall, and I think it was us that got most of the attention. So we did something good there to get attention from all the people that were passing by. So yeah, I think the NATO flag is something that we should be using on regularly in our rallies, because it's NATO that will provide security guarantees for Ukraine. So I don't think that we should be shy away from having the NATO flag. So that's what I'm going to have to say now. But Slava Ukraini!
And now, my friends, just to force the hand that needs to be forced, Rui, come here, man. You're going to do a little speech, my friend. You know, his speeches are always very nice, very well informed, very straight to the point. And that is why I like always inviting new people, you know, inviting our friends here, our supporters, to do their speeches also.
Thank you, Pavlo. I didn't really plan on making a speech, it's just that Pavlo is forcing me to give one. So I would like to address one topic that is now very active within the Russian informational sphere, which has to do with the sanitary cordon, this is the name they give to it, around the city of Kharkiv. So if you look at Russian propaganda and Russian public officials right now, they keep calling for the establishment of a sanitary cordon around the city of Kharkiv. Kharkiv is the second largest city in Ukraine. It's just 30 kilometers away from the border. And it's been under relentless bombardment from Russian forces since the day one of this war. And more recently, these bombardments have been intensified. I don't need to explain to you what the sanitary cordon is. Russian propagandists and Russian officials themselves explain to you what that exactly means. It means the systematic bombardment of the city, the systematic destruction of energy infrastructure and water facilities and all civilian infrastructure to make life impossible and force the expulsion of the population. We are talking about a population of around 1 million people who are still left inside the city, and they want to expel. This has a different name. It is genocide. It's the genocide of Ukrainian people, right? And Russian propagandists are not even ashamed for calling for such actions. It's appalling. It's literally appalling. I think we all need to do our best to support Ukraine, to continue to provide the weapons that Ukraine needs to defend itself against this brutal, relentless, genocidal aggression that Russia is waging against Ukraine. And let us all remind ourselves that what stands between Russia and the Baltic states and Moldova and Poland, and turning all of Eastern Europe into a colony of Russia, which is what they openly state, is Ukraine right now. And the best course of action for us is to support Ukraine right now. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you very much, Lou. Thank you very much. You see, you can send this man to the parliament. He's going to convince them. Love it, love it. Thank you. Tommy, you want to say something here?
Yeah, just quickly, sorry, just to something. It's important, as much as we despise Putin, is how responsible he is. But these issues go back years, go back decades, go back centuries. With the incursion into Moldova and South Ossetia and Georgia, these started in the 1990s, before anyone had ever heard of Putin. I know our Ukrainian friends that speak of the war beginning in 10 years ago. I beg to differ. It started, 877 years ago and counting, with the formation of Muscovy. The point I'm merely trying to make is that that ultimately it is every Russian individual who is responsible. Everyone who is pulling the triggers, carrying out the murders, carrying out the rapes, carrying out the kidnappings, to every gormless coward who's in the West propagating their Russian propaganda, or simply saying, I'm neutral. To that dimwit who turned up at your social club and couldn't even help fill up the van. Ultimately, every Russian is responsible. It's not just Putin. That's all I have to say. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you, my friends. Thank you very much. You see, vast majority of people can see what's going on in Ukraine. Vast majority of people can call a spade a spade. However, my friends, there is a small, very vocal minority of people who continuously scream and shout against the Ukrainian cause, who continuously scream and shout the Russian propaganda that is being fed to them. We need to know better. We need to know how to tackle these accusations. That is why, here in this rally, my friends, we accept the questions from the crowd, whether they are in our favor or against us. We accept them and we answer them as we should. Because this is a country with freedom of speech, where people have the right to do so. I remember not too long ago, me and a few other of our friends from the rally went to the Russian embassy on the Russian election day. And on that day, we spoke to some Russians there. Most of them were against Putin. However, there were some who were pro-Putin, and vocally so, vocally pro-Putin. One of them was particularly interesting. I asked her if she realized that Russia was a dictatorship, and that here in this country she has the rights that she lacks in Russia. She has the rights that she could never dream of in Russia. I told her that now she was about to vote in a vote here in the UK, in a vote that does not matter truly, because Putin is going to rig the vote. But here in the UK she has the ability to speak, the ability to explain her opinion. So she should use it whilst she has it. Because the people who live in countries that no longer give you that option, no longer have that possibility, their lives are far more difficult. For them, the only thing that remains is to fight against the government, which is always a bloody endeavor. But here, my friends, here we have the ability to speak. We have the ability to influence politics. And that's exactly what we should be doing. The idea, oh, all politicians are the same, I'm not into politics, I'm not into this. It's idiotic. Look what they got in Russia because of that idea. And it's truly comedic sometimes. One individual who came to the Russian embassy on a different occasion, after Navalny's death, Alexei Navalny, the opposition against Putin, he was speaking against the Ukrainians. Now, most of the Russians who support Navalny, they also support Ukraine, because they support freedom. They don't support dictatorship. But this individual was very interesting. He said that he opposes Ukraine because he's Russian. And when I asked him why that is, he said that, oh, I'm not a politician. Now, my friends, for anyone who doesn't know Navalny, this is exactly the thing that Navalny died for. To try to politicize the Russians, to try to give the Russians a voice, to try to give them meaning, action, agency. And this individual, who goes there supposedly to mourn for Navalny, answers with exactly the same kind of answer that the Russian terrorist regime wants him to give. The Russian terrorist regime that has killed Navalny. I'm not a politician. Well, my friends, you could say that a lot of the people in politics are not politicians in the first place. And if we remove ourselves from politics, are we not making the lives of these propagandists, of these apologists, of these word jugglers so much easier by simply being obedient little sheep? Oh, I don't vote, I'm not into politics. What, politics? I'm neutral. No, my friends, that is not what neutrality is, that is not what centrism is. You know, an old saying goes like this: there's a special place in hell for the people who in the time of moral crisis choose to be neutral. That is a saying that should be remembered. Because neutrality is not an option when your resources are being used to commit things that are everything but neutral, to commit atrocities. When your country is committing those atrocities, you should speak. Now in Russia, there are some who oppose them, but not everyone. And even those who are speaking, even the opposition that exists in Russia, is either toothless, in jail, or in the grave. We must make sure that this does not happen in the West. For that we need to know our enemy. We need to know Russia. We need to know Ayatollah Iran, that our Iranian friends also oppose alongside with us. They know what it means to live in a dictatorial regime. That is why they have so much conviction in their ideology, in their worldview. Why is it that Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland are the countries that support Ukraine the most? Are the countries that want to give the most to Ukraine? Because, my friends, these are the countries who have the closest experience of Russia, of what Russia is, of what it can do to you. We have a choice, all of us, to live as lambs, waiting for the day that our throats will be cut, or to risk something, which here in the West is not even that much. It's not our lives, it's not our livelihood. It's just a little bit of time, a little bit of effort that we risk by supporting the causes that need our support, by supporting the cause of Ukraine, the cause of Iran, the cause of Hong Kong, and of Taiwan, and of many other countries that are opposing these terrorist regimes, such as Russia, Ayatollah Iran, and North Korea. That, my friends, is your choice. And I see we have a very young crowd today, which is great. You, my friends, are the future. Remember that. When people tell you your opinion doesn't matter, when people tell you that you don't matter, that you are nothing, know that they are lying to you, and they're lying to you for a reason. Because they want you to behave in a specific way. But you have the choice which way you behave. So choose. Because in this country we have that choice. And we, as you should, are making it. Slava Ukraini! Slava Nacії! Thank you. Україна! 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 Героям України тричі! Now that we're all here, my friends, I will remind you that these rallies happen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, every Friday at 6 o'clock, and every Sunday at 3 o'clock here at 10 Downing Street. If you want, you can always join us. But of course, you know, do your studies and prepare for your future. Because once again, the youth of Russia is fleeing Russia. They have no future. They're killing their future on the battlefield. And by simply standing in the way, by behaving like an authoritarian country. But this country does have a future. Because people from all over the world come here to live here. They know this country is a good place to live. They know this country offers opportunities, offers freedoms that are not being offered in many other places in the world. That, my friends, is something that's worth remembering. People vote with their feet. Now I know it might sound funny at first. What, do they write with their feet or something? No. People vote where they are. They vote by migrating to places that are good to live in and leaving places that are bad to live in. Look at the countries that are getting an influx of people, and look at the countries that are getting their population to leave. And you will understand which countries offer a future for their people and which countries do not. And with that, my friends, we will end our rallies as we have started it, thank you very much, with the Ukrainian anthem. Oh. Bonjour, bonjour.
Усміхнеться доля, згинуть наші вороженьки, як роса на сонці, запануємо ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душу й тіла ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду. Душу й тіла ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду.
Слава Україні! Слава нації! Україна! 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 Героям України тричі! Слава! 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 Дякую.
Why are they all going to